FM.
So many people just as shocked as I am that Pius Kujobaka doesn't know who Boys to Men is.
Boys to Men, you know.
I mean, seriously.
Latter Day Saint into our issue will be forgiven.
So many messages coming through.
Bended knee, you know, was that? I mean,
How can you not know Boys to Men? Like, Boys to Men, oh. Anyway.
Or your Latter Day Saint.
Yes. Leila Pencil says that, anyway, it's easier to keep abreast than to go back in history. So maybe that's his reason for not knowing much about this one.
Those days, Raymond Acquah will go and pick their lyrics and try to rewrite
Boys
them in a letter
to
let them come
George
across
Wiafe?
as if he was the one who authored those lyrics.
So you started the plagiarism business a long time ago.
You understand me? And
Oh,
then
goodness.
he will try to pretend as if he authored those lyrics.
I see.
So,
Well, listen, it's good to have you, George. Always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, we're hoping we invited you with ulterior motives. We're hoping that we're going to pick up some small filler from the corridors of power on how this whole domestic debt exchange matter is going.
Where he heavily resides. Where, in fact, I mean, clearly, in the Republic of Ghana, we are talking about. But the finance minister said, if you want to know the updates on the, what do you call it, domestic, even the economy, on the IMF deal,
Yes.
listen to Joy FM.
Yeah. George Wiafe is a lampshade in the corridors of power.
Yes. Clearly.
Yes.
If you want the information.
In fact,
the
he
way
said,
we have said the thing, you can't say anything else, so you have to deliver.
And right now, the way we've hyped you,
Yeah.
if you like, don't give us filler. Anyway, let's start off with the Drive Safe campaign. It's brought to us by Joy News and the Multimedia Group. It's supported by Imperial General Assurance, solid protection. So listen, avoid all distractions. Keep both eyes on the road and hands on the steering wheel. Be visible. Drive with your lights on. That is how you drive safe. And this morning, on Say It Right, we are grateful to Kingdom Books. At Kingdom, quality and affordability are their hallmarks.
Something must be done.
You say either, I say either.
I bumped into an old friend on my way home yesterday. I asked how he was doing, and he said, "I'm doing good." Now, I'm convinced he meant to say, "I'm doing well." No need to judge him so harshly. It's a common mistake. You see, the word good is an adjective, not an adverb. Adjectives qualify nouns, and adverbs qualify verbs. So you cannot use the adjective good to qualify the verb doing. Well, on the other hand, is definitely an adverb. So the correct expression is, "I'm doing well," not "I'm doing good." Besides, even as an informal expression, "I'm doing good" actually means something else entirely. It means I'm doing good deeds. There you go. Now we can all say it right.
Her voice failing me at every turn this morning, Charlie. It went a bit gruff at the end of that Say It Right. At the sofa. Anyway, God day. Let's get into the papers. News review brought to us by Enterprise Insurance Woodie Wumu Motor Promotion. Enterprise, your advantage.
Now, the Ghanaian Times is reporting this morning that domestic debt exchange program government gets 83 billion, representing 85% of participation, and that's the biggest story in the paper. There are other stories, though. President inaugurates ICT facility at Dome Kwabenya and Ghana to stop filling landing carts by airline passengers March 31. This is the Vice President of the Republic speaking there, and the National Fire Service, National Security close in on prank callers. So we have bought a device that can help us clamp down on people who make prank calls to our security lines. So be it fire service, be the... In fact, I'm told even the lines that have been shared for see something, say something. People are making prank calls.
It's interesting.
But at some point... mindful of the fact that our emergency system is not as functional as people expect it to be. The expectation is that you should help the system. Elsewhere, it's easy to isolate and remove you from the line. Other alternatives are there.
Yeah.
But we have in fact, sometimes when you call, you have to wait. So you hanging on that line.
Yeah.
could be preventing somebody from accessing
Who's actually
that
in a critical
essential
condition.
Yes, emergency service. So that's how serious it is. It's not a joke at all.
Yeah,
So I'm happy that they are in the position to clamp it down.
Yeah.
Now, yes, and the 85% participation is also being controversial in the Republic of Ghana.
Yeah.
I saw the tweet from it's Dr. Tue Champon, who was talking about the calculation and whether or not there's a new. Maybe quickly, I will go through it so that it is. If you want to comment on it, this one says here: there's a funny accounting gimmick being deployed by the government to make it look like government got 85%, when in fact the initial domestic debt exchange amount of 137 billion is considered. The actual exchange amount amounts to 61%, as many of us highlighted from the get-go. In paragraph 5 of the press release, the government has decided to deduct amounts of eligible bonds held by government or persons that are not eligible holders, and that they were not eligible to participate in the exchange in the first place. And B, amounts held by persons that, following the announcement of the exchange, converted their eligible bonds to treasury bills. Basically, the conversion to T-bills means that the government has an even bigger shorter-term payment obligation, as these instruments have become have bigger interest rates, that's coupons, than many of the eligible bonds. Then he added, you trust these guys at your peril. So what he's saying is that if you considered the actual participation, if you consider the 107 as the denominator here, it would have been somewhere in the 60s and not the 85%.
I think the more clarity is needed on this whole thing in terms of, and even communicating in more simple language when it comes to the public, or communicating this into the public. For those more of the institutional investors, if you're talking to them, it would help. Yes, indeed, initially when the documents came out, it was 137. When the necessary revisions was done, the numbers were reduced down, actually. So you have to maybe help people by explaining that this is what was done.
Okay.
And based on these revisions that we did, and that is why, if you look at the numbers, it was around 137 billion Ghana cedis. It came down to around 97 billion Ghana cedis. The question you want to ask is that there are about 40 billion that has been shaved coat off. Does it amount to those pension funds and other persons that they didn't even participate at all? And then those bonds that were left to participate, is it worth the 97 billion Ghana cedis? And therefore, if you have bonds that are worth 83 billion Ghana cedis, then participating in this offer or tendering in their bonds or swapping their bonds, does it amount to that 83% that government says that making this offer successful? I think it would help. That uncertainty, and Kojo, Fitch ratings has actually downgraded us to a default rating in terms of our credit worthiness. Now, if you go through that statement, one of the things that they raised was that they are not convinced by that assurance in the statement that government will honor this coupon payment tied to government fiscal commitment. Even Fitch, that is well grounded in finance and all the rest, is not comfortable with some of these statements. And for me, I'm just saying that as government claims to be making progress on this, the more simple language that they communicate this thing might help in the market confidence.
But you see, George, it shouldn't take you to advise government that they should explain themselves. It ought to be a matter of course. I don't think that the IMF that they are dealing with will take numbers that require explaining and just leave it at that. They will insist that these gaps are filled.
Yeah.
They will insist that the reconciliation is done. Why is this not included? Why is the denominator, as Raymond describes it, why is it smaller? What are you doing differently here? And so if government will be made to answer those questions to the IMF, why must we be left in the dark? We, the most affected by it. Why must we be left in the dark? It ought not take you, George, to explain to government that you need to be clear. It ought to be a matter of course. They are paying people, experts to communicate on their behalf. There is an entire information ministry. Why are we still in the dark?
And Kuja, I'm raising this question particularly about the issue about confidence building as well. The uncertainty is just not helping. I'm just saying that if a rating agency in their report this morning is raising issues about the fact that we have defaulted technically because bonds matured on February 3rd, it wasn't paid, and it's not convinced by assurance that tied to fiscal commitment, government is going to honor these payments. Yes, we know that we have had information about they want this offer to close and the necessary payments will be made with all this. But I'm just saying that at a time when confidence is being badly hit, explaining these things in simple language and in simple text is going to help everyone out there to be assured that these things will be paid. Yeah.
Has government already defaulted on their domestic debts?
Yeah. If you look at the one
Alright.
that is technical default, they had not paid.
Okay.
It was due, and when you go to
At
the
least
Fitch
that's what
statement,
Fitch- yes,
again, it says
they
that for them
categorically puts it
there's
there.
a contractual obligation that when a bond is due on this date, the payments are made.
So those
If
people
you-
who are
if
being
you-
told that if you opt out, you will be paid, there isn't much for them to hold on to by way of confidence, is there?
Yeah. If they have these, some of these, well, if you go through the Daily Guide, the story has it has one story that says that government will honor coupon payment maturity principles, and it's there. And also, there's another story about Forson's fate hangs as AG closes the case. There's an interesting story, and I saw it online about a goalkeeper dying after saving a penalty. And this is in the Belgian goalkeeper, that is Ane Asper, has died at the age of 25 after he collapsed on the pitch on Saturday moments after saving a penalty for his team.
Oh no.
Interesting, that one. The Daily Graphic also has 83 billion bonds surrendered for new ones. Interesting one. Nation records 0 cholera cases since 2020. I remember sometimes some people were challenging this fact as well.
Oh,
and
yes, that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
records
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ministry actually suggest otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, they
Mm.
issue facts for the periods, and not that period. In fact, we have heavily reduced cholera numbers, but we've not had zero for a very long time.
But I'm
Interesting.
interested. I want to know, even if we've reduced the numbers, how did we do it?
Yeah.
We're not living in a cleaner city.
Yeah.
We haven't improved our sanitation. So what is it that has changed that has resulted in us having fewer cases? I'm interested.
I
want to
remember
know.
during the COVID time, there was a doctor that we spoke to, and he actually attributed the washing of hands might have contributed in the
Yes, they brought
reduction
those
in the
ones.
Yes,
cases. You
that-
know,
that
and
makes
maybe
sense.
The fact that COVID is kind of gone, we should still try and keep those healthy. Wearing of people are still
Yes,
wearing
like-
their masks. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
someone like Martin Pebu is very, very, always have his mask on too.
I read a study that suggested that people who are not so good looking are likely to wear masks.
Okay.
Raymond Acquah.
I'm
No,
saying
not
it's
it was
connected
linked to
anybody,
but I'm
yes,
just, it's true. There was
But
a
the
study.
timing of your sharing of this detail
Okay.
is
Oh.
very suspicious.
No, please. It has.
I mean, there are people
Mr.
in the
Pebu is a
newsroom.
very handsome
yeah,
man.
very, very handsome.
By all
That-
standards and
yeah,
qualifications.
Yeah.
Also, it now casts a question over any time that you wear a mask from now on.
Yes, when I wear,
Also, our
because
newsroom
I
as
suspect
well.
people will be
We
giving
have
me
some
COVID.
people who are very, very
I suspect
committed
people
to-
anytime I put it on because I suspect people.
Yeah. Well, there's another story about the president saying the LGBTQ plus law must consider culture, interest of humanity. Interesting statement coming from the president. So we'll see what the ministry is still going to say about the debt exchange program, and more clarity needed. And for those bondholders who are saying that exempt us and pay our coupons.
When the ministry says that we have closed the book now, it's what they call it. We are done with the work. So the conversations, maybe you can still have it.
Well, there's supposed to be a human touch to some of these things.
Really.
You
So
know,
from now to the 21st.
you have the economy and then the political economy as well. And so everything that you do, you want to also look at the political economy and the human interest as well.
You know, sometimes when you think about it in that perspective, right? So, in all of this, who gave us the 137 billion as the standard that we should have used for our domestic debt exchange?
I think, Raymond, we shouldn't forget that this thing has been revised on 2 occasions.
Yeah. So,
And
no, I
therefore,
get your
yeah.
point. I'm saying that the determination of 137 billion, who gave it to us?
The
Is it
Ministry of Finance.
did we determine? Yes, the Ministry of Finance,
Yeah.
not the IMF, right? So, with all the revisions that happened along the line up to this point, is there a limit we can never go below? So this amount that we got, the 82 billion or 92 billion or just about, is it is it the least amount that we should ever consider for us to be successful
so.
in getting a domestic debt restructuring
I
done
think
to
that
conclude on an IMF deal?
Let me tell you
if you
something.
engage the IMF, sorry.
Forgive me. It's not. I suspect, right, and I'm happy to be corrected. I suspect that, in the end, we are simply a country that owes a lot of money we can't pay. So, in the end, whatever we can demonstrate as our own efforts to clean up our finances will go a long way. I don't think there is some international standard or law set somewhere, which is the reason why those who argue that, look, if government were to make meaningful gestures into the reduction of their own expenditure, that might have even more of an impact than a domestic debt exchange. Sometimes the impact doesn't even come from the quantum. Sometimes it is what you are willing to sacrifice that signals your determination to come out of your situation. Because it's a matter of perception, isn't it? The markets, they deal with perception. Okay, so maybe you've restructured 100 and something billion of your debt. You think that is a big gesture, but maybe there is someone who is willing to bet on you simply because you gave up something more personal. Because as a government, you decided to stop, for example, spending on V8s. Or as a government, you decided to cut your size by 40%. Those things might mean more to someone with money who wants to invest in your economy. So sometimes it's not the quantum, it is the sincerity.
Anyway, you are saying something.
And also, I mean, I think when you engage the fund, what you get is the commitment from these creditors about them participating in this whole exchange thing, and also about the fact that they are committed in financing the program. I mean, if you look at the external debts as well, now we understand that the creditors committee is being formed. India and China are coming on board. So that is also very, very significant.
Oh, that would be important.
They are coming on board. So it's all about the commitment from these creditors that they subscribe to the whole argument or arrangement in restructuring the debt and financing the program. As for those fine details, targets and all that, I remember when I spoke to the gentleman or the man who leads the IMF team in terms of Ghana's program, he was saying that it's about the commitment from these creditors in participating in this whole program and to finance it as well. And that is why for them, if I'm a bondholder, I am committed to participating in this program based on X, Y, Z. Therefore, there are others too who might not be committed to this because of certain concerns that they have. They think about their future, and they think that government might also not be that committed in terms of what are you also bringing to the table when it comes to the burden sharing. Are you sharing enough? Are you tightening the belt enough or not?
Well, that's interesting. But the finder has this story. Government completes 160 kg blocks, 190 under construction. The president speaking there, and the police arrest 18 people over disturbances at the University of Ghana. These are, I'm told, students who were insisting on going to occupy, go back to the Hall of Residence Commonwealth, or to go and occupy rooms because they say a stay of execution means that the university should
They
reverse
brought
the
back the
policy.
in-out, in again. I mean, it's interesting that still it's a challenge.
Okay.
In terms of dealing with the accommodation issues on campus. It's never get over. You never get over with all the hotels being built on campus.
We demonstrated that they built 8,000 facilities.
The back of my brain can't help noticing the irony that the place you go to solve problems is a tertiary institution, a university, a place of academic thinking. You would think that after all these years of facing the same problem every year, somebody would have come up with a solution that works. Anyway, when a university can't solve a problem, the list of those who can becomes a lot more narrow. Let's go online. The online review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goyle Good Energy. Of course, let me remind you, if you're looking to bank the easy way, then you better join Zenith Bank's easy banking family. Download the Z Mobile Ghana app, log on to their individual or corporate internet banking platforms, or just dial *966# to enjoy seamless banking on the go. You can make transfers, top up airtime, pay bills, pay for goods and services, and so much more. Join the easy banking family and experience easy banking with Zenith Bank in your best interest. 18 persons arrested over disturbance on UG campus. It's part of what we're discussing. Let's go back to myjoyonline.com. Gabi can call me paranoid, but I don't care. Sophia Kufo back to picket at the finance ministry. All right, citynewsroom.com. Government's reckless spending to blame for Ghana's economic woes. That's Isaac Adomo's view. And on CNN this morning, New Zealand hostage pilot appears in photos with armed West Papua rebels. That's a troubling story there. All right, let's go for